Hello and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered for us for the most chaotic show in wrestling recaps. This is all for
NAWT. Not.
NawT. All right,
All right.
that was
Seems
pretty
like
good.
getting a little better. So let's crack into this week's Raw. Do you want to give us the rundown?
Um,
What happened with
it
this?
was not a good episode.
Not a good episode. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's
I'm,
probably
ho-
fairly. It's a fair assessment, I think. I mean, I'm
I
giving
mean,
a
it
little.
wasn't terrible. It wasn't like a 1 out of 5, but it was probably. If you say it's a 3 out of 5, I'll say fair. I'd
Yeah,
probably go with a 2. But
I
if you
would
say
say two.
3, I'd be like, all right.
I thought it was about a 2.5. 2 or 3, somewhere like a B minus, C plus, maybe a solid C. I mean, I don't know. Your grade and letter grade wise. Um, there were a couple decent things. Um, the show did kick off with, let's see here. Let me get my notes open
Paul
here.
Heyman.
Yeah, with
Or are we going to talk
Mac-
about the draft picks with Triple H?
Triple H. Yeah, Triple H started the show off right with the draft pick. So we had the Raw. The first SmackDown draft pick was Rhea Ripley. And then, oh no, I'm sorry. Raw selected Rhea Ripley. I apologize. And then SmackDown selected Austin Theory. And then, let's see, Raw selected Seth Rollins. And SmackDown selected Charlotte Flair. So I'm trying to think. My memory's terrible, so you can help me here. That's a change for Rhea, right? Well, Judgment Day's been on SmackDown, haven't they?
Judgment Day's been on Raw.
Judgment Day's been on Raw, so she's staying on Raw. The rest of them went to SmackDown, right?
No,
I thought they got drafted already.
they did.
They're all on Raw too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess
And the LWO is on SmackDown.
okay. Theory was on Raw, and now he'll be on SmackDown, so that's a new whatchamacallit for him, venue for him.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins has been on Raw for a while, so he'll be on. Oh, he's staying on Raw. I apologize. And Charlotte, I feel like I don't even know where Charlotte has been, so she will now be on SmackDown.
Charlotte is SmackDown.
So she's staying with SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So we had those 4 draft picks. That was the first round, and then that transitioned into Paul Heyman in the ring, giving a promo, talking about how Roman will be on SmackDown Live next Friday to address all of the Bloodline's business items. Then Seth came out and
Yeah, my buddy
basically,
was over, and he was like, "Why isn't it this Friday?" And I told him, "Roman's not flying all the way to Puerto Rico just to talk on SmackDown."
right? No doubt, no doubt. So Seth is out basically saying he's going for the champion. He should be the championship, and they end up setting up a match between Solo and Seth for later in the evening. Then we got what? Bailey and Dakota are gonna face tag team champions at some point later in the show. Footage of Cody
I
Rhodes
mean,
and
wasn't
Russ.
it up next?
Yeah, it is up next. I guess that must have been a little video package. I don't. My notes would say video
Mm-hmm.
package. This is coming up. Then I got footage is shown from earlier in today. Cody arriving at the arena. Pierce tells Rhodes that Brock Lesnar is here. Doesn't want anything to escalate. Rhodes angrily walks off.
But
LeBron. Go ahead.
but Bailey and Dakota Kai winning though, like that's pretty big.
Yeah. Then we had that match, non-title match, of course. But they did get the
And
win.
like I said yesterday, I feel that like the split would be Io splitting from them and keeping Bailey and Dakota together.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean that seems reasonable. I mean, it's not fair to say Dakota Kai needs a tag team partner, but Dakota Kai needs a tag team partner. I mean, Bailey does, and Io Sky doesn't, and so I don't know. I mean, like, as far as I'm concerned, Bailey and Io should be on their own, and Dakota can do whatever, find either another tag team partner or, meddle away, in the mid card, whatever. But I don't think,
I mean,
I mean,
Io's not gotten a singles run on the main roster.
right. No, I mean, I'm all for Io getting the main run. I mean, I think. And I mean, I didn't pick it. I picked Bianca just because I don't think the story's there. But I wouldn't be surprised if they had Io win at Backlash. I don't think it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me either.
It's
Control one.
for me. It's
Go ahead.
just a situation of if it's not Io, then who is it? Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
If it's not Io, I have no idea who's going to be the one to beat Bianca. They might have to sign somebody from AEW over in order to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, they just have to book somebody. I think there's some people there that are believable. I mean, I need to look at the. She got drafted to SmackDown, correct? On last Friday, Bianca. Is that correct? Do you remember?
Yeah, Bianca's drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all shakes out and who's on the SmackDown roster. But if they build some people right, I think there's people out there that can beat her. She's been beaten before. It's not like a Jade situation where she's never been beaten and now they're really in the corner. Like she's lost before and she's beatable. I mean, whether right or wrong, and I thought it was terrible. We saw Becky Lynch beat her in 23 seconds. So I mean, of course, it was a terrible situation and horrible booking. But so I don't know. I mean, I know that everyone says that she's like getting the John Cena treatment and never loses, and I guess to a certain point that's true. But at the same time, she has taken plenty of L's in her career in WWE so far. So I mean, I don't. Uh, so yeah, so Damage Control one. I'm assuming this will set up whatchamacallit for Bailey and Dakota for a championship shot for a title match here since they just beat the champs in the near future. Then we got what Brock Lesnar and Cody video package. They'll both be on there. Brock is showing up at the arena. Blah blah blah. Then we got a. Then we get Booker T, Queen Charmel on stage for the second round of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And with the first pick of the second round, Rod drafted Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, tag team champions.
Whoa, whoa. Oh, I'm on round 3. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and that for some reason I don't have any more after that, and I know there has to be more. I missed apparently.
SmackDown selected the Usos. Raw
Okay.
selected Judgment Day.
hmm
And SmackDown selected the LWO. So that's how you missed the Judgment Day one.
There we go. Yep. And then we had a tag team match between Ricochet and Braun versus the Alpha Academy. It was a decent match. I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, all those guys are pretty good. I mean, Chad Gable and Ricochet. I mean, I could probably watch those two wrestle every week.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I care a little less about Otis and Braun. I like Otis because I think he's a little more. I think the agility that he has at the size that he has makes him fun to watch. Braun, I don't really care for all that much. I think Braun's boring, um, but it is what it is. Uh, Ricochet and Braun win by pinfall, and that brings us to Shawn Michaels emerging from the War Room, and the third round is next. Let's see. Shawn comes out. I'm trying to see here what my notes say. Shawn comes out, gets started. He's cut off by Brock Lesnar, who comes down to the ring in his cowboy hat and his trench coat. And he's talking shit about Cody, blah, 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 wants Cody. And eventually Cody comes out, but too much security in the way. That melee plays out. And then Shawn Michaels is back on stage ready to try again for the first pick of the third round, in which Raw selected the tag team champions, Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez. So they're going over to Raw, or staying on Raw. I'm not sure. uh,
My allergies are acting up.
yeah. Then the second pick, we got SmackDown takes Asuka. Then Raw selected New Day, and finally SmackDown selected the Brawling Brutes. I thought at some point someone had
I'm
said
lost in my notes right now.
there
Oh,
was
okay,
a
yeah. Here, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to Raw.
yep, and then Asuka to SmackDown, New Day to Raw, and then the SmackDown gets the Brawling Brutes. I had heard a rumor. I thought maybe it was Anika that mentioned it, that she had heard somewhere that Pete Dunne was going back to Pete Dunne and not going to be Butch and separated from the Brawling Brutes. But
We haven't seen it.
that didn't
Anika said
happen
that a
during the
long time
draft.
ago.
That's for sure. That didn't happen during the
Yeah.
draft. So let's
Anika
see.
said that a while back, and I don't know who reported that. Did Sean Ross Sapp report that?
We'll have to ask Anika on Friday during
Yeah.
our live watch along where she got that news from. But let's see.
Because like if it was SRS or if it was like Chris Van Vliet, then I'd believe it. But if it's not one of those two, it's
yeah.
like
No,
even if WWE reported it, like it's more accurate if SRS reports it than if WWE does.
No, I agree with that for sure, 100%. Let's see. So then we have the tag team champions backstage. Riddle walks up. They have a little whatever. Riddle's excited about the match and they keep hanging out. They're all drafted to Raw. Saturday they're going to beat up the Bloodline. Blah blah blah.
WWE announced that there was going to be a King of the Ring tournament.
Let's see. Then we had. What am I looking at here? Riddle. Okay, why is this? Interesting. Okay. What do you have for the next? Because I think my notes are messed up here. What do you got?
So Riddle defeated Jimmy Uso.
Okay, that's why my notes are messed up. Because my notes read like a tag team match. I was like, I don't remember a tag team match. So
Jay was out there, but Jimmy was the one who wrestled, and Matt Riddle beat him.
That's right. That's when KO used the fake chair shot, and got Jay kicked out of ringside. So Jimmy didn't have any support. KO pretended to get hit, and Sammy yelled at the ref and said, and then threw the chair at Jay. Jay caught it, and then the ref turned around, and it looked like Jay had hit KO, and so the ref kicked Jay out from ringside. And Riddle wins by pinfall. The Usos are not happy. Then we had a video package with Io Sky, a highlight reel package. And then an announcement about Bianca defending her title against Io in Puerto Rico. Then your favorite person in the world, Eric Bischoff and Rob Van Dam.
Oh. I thought we were going to talk about Nakamura when you said favorite person.
Oh, did I miss Nakamura? No, I got Nakamura coming out later.
Okay.
So we got Bischoff and Van Dam presenting the next picks. Lesnar's, they announced Lesnar's a free agent, so he'll be appearing everywhere.
Which means that he might be on each brand once throughout the year.
Yeah. And then we have Heyman talking to Solo, pumping him up for his match against Seth Rollins. More bloodline stuff. And then we've got Bischoff making his way to the podium with Rob Van Dam. The crowd loved RVD.
Oh, RVD also had that spot backstage where he walked out and the card was upside down, and then he flipped it right side up.
Oh, that's right.
In reference to Friday, where he was reading the card upside down.
That's right.
Which we don't know if, WWE had printed the card upside down and he was reading it correctly or not.
Right.
We'll never know.
We will never know. Let's see. Then Bischoff announced the first pick of the fourth round. Raw's first pick of the fourth round was Trish Stratus. I guess I'm a little confused about that. I didn't realize she was still I know she's wrestled a couple times recently, but I didn't know that she was still active.
She announced it like 2 weeks ago.
Enough to be drafted. Let's see. Then
Well, she
RVD.
had announced it like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah. RVD announces that SmackDown has drafted Cross and Scarlet. Bischoff
which
announced.
I think I like them more than anybody else
Mhm.
in Workhorse Wrestling Network. And like, even then, I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they can do with them on SmackDown. I mean, I don't. I mean, I like them better together
They
than
were already on SmackDown.
which I haven't done anything with them. So there you go. Let's see. Bischoff announces Raw has drafted Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. I feel like they were already
Which
on
that
Raw.
surprised me.
I could be
I
wrong.
don't think Ronda's ever. Well, I think she was on Raw in the beginning,
Okay.
but like ever since SmackDown went to Fox, she's been on SmackDown.
So they're now on Raw, although they're never on TV, so I'm not sure what it matters. And then
Well,
finally,
Ronda's injured, and Shannon is tethered to Ronda now. So
I guess so. Uh, and finally, SmackDown selects Law Knight. So LA Knight will go over. Hopefully, that means
mhm.
LA Knight will have some sort of. I'd like to see him have a bloodline feud. I'd love to see him wrestle Roman and Solo. That'd be cool.
Speaking of that, that's what Kyle O'Reilly called him, and that made me want to ask: is Kyle O'Reilly cleared to wrestle?
I don't believe so. I believe he's still injured and still out.
All right,
But
because
when he comes back, though, it's going to be him and Roddy and Adam Cole in All Elite Wrestling, battling the House of Black and battling the Elite.
are
And
they
then bring
going to
back Bobby
join Bullet
Fish.
Club Gold? Like, what's
No,
the plan here?
bring back Bobby Fish and have the UE in AEW.
But they can't call him UE, can they?
No, I don't think so. They just have to give him another name.
Well, I mean, they were the undisputed elite for a while, but they're no
Yep.
longer with the elite either.
Yep. I don't know. They'll have to come up with another name. Let's see.
I mean, if Adam Cole and Hangman Page can work out their differences, we could have the undisputed elite back together.
Yeah, we could. We could. It'll be interesting to see what happens
Oh
now that
wait,
Roddy's
no, no,
not
no, no,
there.
no. That's right. Adam Cole and them attacked the Young Bucks. That's right. Ooh, yeah. So Adam Cole really burnt that bridge, didn't he?
We'll have to
Shoot.
see what ends up happening now that Roddy's back and when Kyle O'Reilly's healthy. We'll have to see what happens. Let's see. Next, we had a Miz TV segment with your favorite.
Honestly, trios
Shinsuke.
champions: Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole.
Yeah,
Like, whew, that's a hell of a trio.
no doubt, for sure. I'm
I
all
mean, most
for it.
people would say the three best members of Undisputed Elite.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm all for it, for sure. Then we had the Miz with Shinsuke. Or back to Raw, we had the Miz with Shinsuke. And then let's see, Shinsuke called the Miz the guy with the tiny balls, which everyone popped for. And
I knew what it meant as soon as he said it too. I was just like, God
Nakamura
damn it! I watched too much anime.
Nakamura wants to do. He wants to be the first ever world, the new first world. He wants to hold the new belt. He wants to be the first holder of the new belt, which makes sense, of course. So Nakamura beats up Miz, and that's basically the end of that segment. Almost as backstage with MVP. He will be in action next.
Shinsuke's never been world champion in WWE.
Nope, just Intercontinental and whatchamacallit?
US.
US.
Oh, and tag.
And tag, that's right. Yep,
Him and Claudio.
that's right. So then after the commercial, we had almost an MVP versus Anthony Alanis. Now we're talking about it was an almost squash. Then we had a replay of Triple H introducing the heavyweight champion, the new belt. And then we had Molly Holly, Hall of Famer, out to announce Raw's next pick with the Road Dogg, Justin James. Molly Holly announces that the Raw has selected the Bearded Baldies, Braun Strowman and Ricochet. They've been on Raw, so they're staying there.
I just want to state that when they showed Molly Holly, I was like, come on, Shane Helms. Come on, Shane Helms. Come on, Shane Helms. And then it was Road Dogg, and I was like, God, why?
I do note that she looks a lot different than she used to when she was in WWE with the long blonde hair and the.
She's aged well.
Yeah, she looks good, just different. Let's see. Road Dogg announces that SmackDown has selected Shotzi. Raw picks Bronson Reed. And finally, SmackDown gets Pretty Deadly from NXT. So NXT, Pretty Deadly called up from NXT, which I'm happy to see. I like Pretty Deadly, and I think they're ready for the main roster. So
I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I feel like Raw won this draft.
yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Even with SmackDown getting the Bloodline, I still feel like Raw won. Let's see. Then we had Judgment Day. Makes his way to the ring. Blah blah blah. Gets in the ring. Does their thing. Let's see. What is the ultimate? I'm trying to. These notes are too long here, so I'm trying to. Give me your brief notes. Let's see. So we've got
Oh,
Judgment
I
Day.
had went back up to check the other draft picks.
So Judgment Day. Judgment Day's in the ring. Let's see. Their champion Rhea Ripley. They get a huge ovation. They talk about how Selena Vega is going to regret wrestling Rhea after Backlash.
Dominic got nuclear heat.
Dominic got nuclear heat. And then that led ultimately to the LWO coming out on stage. And Judgment Day is going to get beat by the LWO.
Judgment Day defeated the LWO.
No, I'm just saying. I know. I'm just reading my notes here. It says the Judgment Day is going to get beat by the LWO. That's what they were chanting in the ring, I guess, or that's what they were saying. That's what Judgment Day was saying in the ring at the end of their promo. No, I know. And then we get the actual match because then we go to a promo by Imperium that they're coming to Raw. So Imperium is coming to Raw, and then we get the 6-man match: Dominic, Damian Priest, and whatchamacallit, Rhea Ripley versus Santos, Ray, and Zelina.
I like the Intercontinental Championship being on Raw because it reminds me of my youth.
Mm-hmm.
But also, the network that Raw is on is USA. So having the US title on USA just it makes sense to my OCD.
It definitely does in that regard. Judgment Day won, and what was a good match for the most part. I mean, these guys all have good chemistry. They all, wrestle well together. This is a good match, maybe the best match of the show. Then we got a replay of Cody punching Brock. Then we have Cody backstage talking about Brock, about how he has to win. Blah blah blah. Then what do we got? We've got Bradshaw and Teddy Long will make the sixth picks for the sixth round, the sixth pick for Raw. What are they calling it? What are they right here? The sixth round picks for Raw and SmackDown, respectively. Blah blah blah. Byron Saxton backstage with Bianca Belair. Doesn't matter what brand she's on, she's gonna beat Io. And let's see, Sky is attached to two females holding her back. Blah blah blah. Bianca, let's see, Bianca will defend. Then we got Teddy Long and JBL. JBL announces that Raw has selected Alpha Academy. Teddy Long announces Rick Boogs, your boy, is going to SmackDown. You like Rick Boogs? JBL announces that. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I do, but like in a mid card position, not like I don't want him holding a title. I like him on my screen.
It seems weird to me that of all the people that are getting drafted, he's one of the people that gets drafted. Like he doesn't, you know what I mean? You're not. There's so many mid card guys. Why do you pick him to be the one to get drafted? Like it just seems weird. But
I think it would have been better if it was him and Elias.
Yeah. Let's see. Then JBL announces that Katana Chance and Caden Carter are coming to Raw. Then they're shown in the Performance Center looking happy about coming to Raw. And Fire Island comes in and ruins their time. Their little segment picks on them a little.
So Elias and Rick Boogs. You got soft rock and you got hard rock.
Let's see. The final pick goes to SmackDown, and they select To the Moon, Cameron Grimes from NXT. That is the end of the draft for the night, I believe. Yes, it is. Let's see. We got Solo Sikoa making his way. We're getting ready for the main event. Solo's going to make his way to ringside. Next Monday, the brand new Monday Night roster goes into effect. So all the draft stuff begins next week. Let's see. Then we had Solo versus Seth. I said earlier that maybe the 6-man match was a match of the night, but I take that back. I think this was the match of the night, even with the interruption at the end. I still think this was a good match. Solo and Seth have decent chemistry. Solo has good chemistry with everybody. I really like watching Solo wrestle. He's by far right now my favorite of the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Probably the one with the highest ceiling. I think he's more talented than Roman. Whether he talks better or not, we haven't really seen that yet. But I think he wrestles better in the ring. I like him better. He's more versatile. He has more moves. He looks more athletic. He looks meaner. He looks more like the traditional kind of Samoan beast, which I like.
I mean, it is especially with his older brothers. Like Jimmy's got the record, and then Jay he keeps breaking character. So it's like, yeah. like they're both great, but like they both have those demerits to them. Meanwhile, Solo has no demerits to him, and he's younger and has more of a future ahead of him.
No doubt. Let's see. So Seth wins by disqualification. Because the Usos ran in and is called disqualification. Let's see. The show basically ended with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, along with Riddle, coming to the ring to further. This is the go-home show for what you call it this weekend, Backlash. So further trying to build the anticipation for this 6-man match at Backlash next week, where ALW, take home the Predictions Championship, the Workhorse Predictions Championship. So that was the end of Raw. Myself and Sammy both gave it like around a 2.5 out of 3, or 2.5 to 3 out of 5. Not a great show. Not a lot of wrestling, mostly just because of the draft. I think there was only 2 or 3 real matches. A couple of them were okay, but yeah, for the most part, it's missable. Although I will say that for the first time since I've had to watch it for doing NawT, it didn't feel like 3 hours. And I don't know if that was because of the draft. I don't know what it was, but it felt shorter to me than it normally does. Let's see. Then we have our next show to talk about.
I mean, I will say that usually Raw feels like 4 hours. This felt like 3.25 hours.
We have NXT from last night. Let's see. What do you got? Show opening with
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker. No. Wesley and Drew Gulak first, right?
Oh.
At least that's what my notes say. Maybe I got them wrong. I've got Wesley and Drew
Gulak. Let me open up my notes. Hold on.
I've got Wesley and Drew Gulak North American Championship first. And then I've got Trick coming to the ring and Braun comes out. We got Tyler Bate in the corner of Wesley, because Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey are kind of a 2-man deal at the moment. Wesley hits his cardiac kick to retain his title. And then we have Trick to the ring. Braun is out. And we're going to get, it looks like Braun and Trick at the next NXT pay-per-view at the end of May. What's it called? They said the name of it, and I can't remember the name of it now off the top of my head, but it's like May 28th or something. It's the end of the month. So then we had JD McDonough backstage, who gets interrupted by Noam Dar. They exchange a little bit of dialogue. And then we have JC Jane versus Gigi Dolan. Was a good match. I liked it. What did you think? Anything to say?
I mean, not really.
No.
Not
JC
about
Jane,
NXT, no.
JC Jane gets the win.
I'm not. I was never a fan of Toxic Attraction.
Yeah.
Like,
so JC Jane beats down Dolan, gets the win, and then beats her down. Then we have a mask versus mask match. The loser has to give up its mask between Axiom and Scripps. Axiom wins. The only thing we can say about this is Axiom wins, and we find out that Scripps is dun-dun-dun, Reggie, as if we probably couldn't have figured that out because he looks like Reggie. But needless to say, it was Reggie. So I don't know what that means for Scripps going forward. I don't really care. Then we have Briggs and Jensen and Henley at the bar. I guess did I miss something? Wasn't last week he was just dressed up with Kiana James and all like snobby snooty guy, and now all of a sudden he's back with these guys. I swear I missed something somewhere.
yeah, I guess you did.
What did I miss?
Spring Breakin'.
Well, I watched it. We talked about it last week. We did not. Yeah, we did not. What did I miss?
She left him.
Oh, somehow I missed that.
And he's back with his buddy.
Right. No, I saw him at the bar with Briggs.
And there was the guy in the purple shirt in the front row, purple shirt guy. He was so dramatic about it. He was more dramatic about it than.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. Yes,
Brooks was.
Now. I remember now. Yes, I remember you pointing out the purple shirt guy at the time too. I remember now. So, in the aftermath of Kiana James leaving Brooks, they are in a bar, all of them together, and they're all happy to be back together again. And blah blah blah. It's a love fest between Brooks, Jensen, and Briggs, Jensen, and Henley. Then we got JD McDonough versus Dragon Lee. Really good match.
Which this is my favorite part of the episode.
This was a really good match. This was the best match of the night for sure. These two are both amazing wrestlers. I really like JD McDonough. He's a little odd to look at because his head feels a little misproportioned for his body, but he's extremely fun to watch wrestle, and I love Dragon Lee. I'm a little disappointed that Dragon Lee gets the L here, but I'm a little concerned that he's taken a couple losses, and I'm not sure why. I would have thought that they would have brought him in to actually have a nice little run, and so far he's just lost. Now, to be fair, he lost in a ladder match, so it's not really his. It's not like, but he did take a clean pin here and a clean loss here, so I don't know.
I mean, most guys do come in unless they're considered a top guy.
Yeah.
Like, you have your Adam Coles, your Drew McIntyres, your Malachi Blacks, your,
right,
Karrion Crosses, the guys who are looked at as being next NXT world champions. Those guys get booked successive wins in the beginning.
Right.
Everyone else gets a couple losses to build themselves back up.
Yeah. No, I guess that's true.
Is what it is.
I guess that's true. Then we had Joe Gacy versus Joe Coffey. Another good match. I like both these guys. I'm a huge Gallus fan, and I like Joe Gacy. So both of these guys are talented. They both do real good in-ring work. Let's see. Gacy gets the win, and we move on to the debut of Danny Palmer versus Tatum Paxley. Not much to say about this. I thought Danny Palmer looked okay. She had a good looking frog splash at the end that gave her first NXT win. Then we had a Chase U segment. Although it's now going to be Dookie. Duke Hudson basically taking kind of over. It's going to be Duke Hudson University. Let's see. Then we have a Von
Tyler Bate,
Wagner.
Tyler Bate, Tyler Bate, Tyler Bate, Tyler Bate.
Then we have Von Wagner backstage with Mr. Stone. Was trying to get Von Wagner
Which
over.
I thought that they were done with.
Yeah, I don't know. Wagner's refusing to answer questions. Yeah, this is dumb to me. I don't really care for that Von Wagner stuff. I don't like Von Wagner, so. Then we had Fire Island, Dawn of Fire, versus Carter and Chance.
Which why?
Why? Yeah, Carter and Chance have already been drafted. They just got drafted earlier or on Raw, so we already know they're going to Raw. Why would they win the NXT SmackDown or the NXT Tag Team titles here? That makes no sense. So this was basically a
no
throwaway
sense.
match, of which, surprise, surprise, Fire Island won. Ha! And so that's the last time we will see Carter and Chance in NXT. Well, maybe not the last time, but they're going up to the main roster. Then we had the final segment.
I mean, honestly, it could be the last time we see them both. Who knows?
It could be. They could end up in catering.
Main roster's funny about that.
It definitely is. It definitely is. If they don't stand out, they're going to end up in catering. So then we had the final segment for this week's episode of NXT, which was Indy Hartwell in the ring, basically relinquishing the title because she got drafted to SmackDown.
Which why they didn't do that with the tag titles is beyond me.
Really stupid. But
the only assumption I can make is because there's going to be a combination and the NXT titles are going away.
Maybe. Yeah, that's possible.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that they're getting rid of the NXT tag titles.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, otherwise, why would they be doing it, right? That way. So Indy Hartwell basically says goodbye and leaves her title in the ring, and that is the end of this week's NXT. I thought Raw this week was better than NXT. So if I give Raw 3, I'm giving NXT a 2.5 out of 5. Not much you have to see here. That week, I thought
Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough. Like,
yep.
Go online and watch it.
Check that out. And Axiom versus Scripps was fun, even though it's kind of dumb. Both of them are decent wrestlers, and it was a fun match. I enjoyed that one. But yes, definitely check out JD McDonough and Dragon Lee. And unless you got anything else to say about Raw or SmackDown, that wraps up this week.
I'm surprised that nobody in Schism got drafted.
Yeah, me too. I am as well. Yeah, I mean, they didn't raid the NXT roster as much as I thought they were going to. They took some.
They took all the champs, though.
they except for Wesley, they did, and except for Wesley and Mello, they did. They definitely took all the X champs for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, you had said as many as 10. I mean, maybe if you count the tag.
Yeah, about 10.
If you count the tag teams, 2 people each, then yeah, you're probably getting there. Yeah. If you count them,
it's over 10 if you count them as individuals.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it, but yeah, I mean.
Well, Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Katana Chance, Caden Carter. That's 6 right there.
Yeah.
So if you count them as individuals, it's well over 10.
That's true. I guess that's true. So, but it still doesn't feel like they gutted it as much as they could have. So, unless you got anything else to say, we'll wrap up this episode of All for Naught.
Hopefully next week's going to be better.
Yes. Please join us next week. Go ahead.
Like, after Backlash is done and the draft is now over, hopefully Raw can finally be like, okay, let's start some storylines. Let's get some stuff going. Because like this has been rough.
It has been rough.
It's honestly been rough since Mania. It's been rough.
I would agree with that. They haven't done a whole lot since Mania. And my guess is that they were trying to tread water because they knew the draft was coming up and they didn't want to set up a whole bunch of stuff for people that were going to be leaving shows and transferring or whatever, switching shows. So you're right. Hopefully now that they've got the draft is done and we have the brand split somewhat in place, maybe we'll actually get some storylines between now and SummerSlam and leading into, Survivor Series or whatever, and a decent second
The
half of the
funny
year.
thing is that Backlash actually does feel like WrestleMania Backlash this year.
It does kind of, yeah. It does.
Because it's just continued storylines from WrestleMania that they were like, well, we can't do anything new yet. So we're just going to continue everything on for the next month and see how everything goes.
Yeah, I mean, with the sole exception of Seth and Almost, which is basically a throwaway. Yeah, I mean, they're all basically just continuations of what was going on at WrestleMania. So, um, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see now that it's all done if Raw can settle into a routine and actually have some storylines and put out some good shows. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm crossing my fingers. Let's put it that way. So that'll wrap up this episode of All for Naught. Thanks for joining us as usual. This will air later tonight, probably about 9 o'clock, and you will see us again on Friday. Sammy and Anika host Friday Night Fights, the WWE SmackDown Watch Along, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, or 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then me and CM come in and watch Rampage or whatever, that and whatever else is on Friday nights. Then usually UTR Under the Radar posts on Saturday. We just lost Dark and Dark Elevation. Apparently AEW is not doing those anymore, so me and CM are reevaluating Under the Radar. I don't know if we're just going to keep doing it for MLW, BTE, Impact, and Ring of Honor. I mean, we still have some shows we can do it for, so we'll probably continue to do that.
I mean, if they're going to be doing ROH at the AEW shows, that's an hour of ROH, 2 hours of 2 hours of Dynamite, and then an hour of Rampage. That's 4 hours in front of a live crowd.
Yeah.
Like they don't really have time to be doing Dark and Dark Elevation.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, and then as always on Tuesday nights for the cookout, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. This Saturday, May 5th, yeah, May 5th, 6th. Let me look at the calendar. May 6th.
6th is Backlash.
The 6th is Backlash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, May 6th. Saturday, May 6th is Backlash. So we'll be here for our Backlash watch along starting at
Revenge of the 6th.
5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We won't do the kickoff show because they never have any wrestling on there. So we will start when the main card starts at 5 o'clock. And then, as usual, as I was saying, every Tuesday night for the cookout, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe we are going to do our AEW draft next week ahead of Collision starting soon. What?
I might not be here on Friday.
Uh-oh. I don't know.
I mean, I haven't talked to my family, but my family usually goes out and eats dinner together for Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, well, you'll have to let us know for sure so I can fill in with on SmackDown.
I mean, I'll let you know because I'll be going out to dinner with them tomorrow, so I'll know whether we're doing it 2 days in a row or not.
All right. Sounds good. Just let us know, and if not, I'll fill in on SmackDown for you. So.
All right.
All right. So we'll see you all on Friday. Peace.